kada mahyam dadati swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुव एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim tatkripa tamaham vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So after you permit, Priya, then I will begin the session.
Yes, please. Please start the session, Rashma.
Okay. I would request everybody to turn on their videos. It would be nice to see you all and interact during the session. So I request the participants to turn on their videos. I'm requesting the participants to turn on their videos so that we can interact. Am I audible?
Yes, Mataji, you are audible.
Okay. So I'm requesting all the participants to turn on their screens. Thank you very much. So I welcome all of you to IYS Online Sangha. It's a beautiful forum where we meet every Wednesday and we discuss the Bhagavad Gita. So it's a beautiful practice of congregating with devotees and learning to expand our knowledge. So thank you very much for taking out time. I'm extremely grateful to each and every one of you for taking out your time and coming together. So I suggest that you all have your notebooks and a pencil or a pen with you because we are getting into a very, very important section of the Bhagavad Gita. So now for those of you who have been attending the previous sessions, so we've discussed various aspects, like we discussed the battlefield, setting the scenes. We discussed what Arjuna was going through and how he, submitted his prayer to Krishna, and then finally Krishna starts talking. Yeah. So now we are discussing verse number 20, and just before verse number 20, Krishna starts speaking the most important aspect of the Bhagavad Gita, like he's laying down the foundation of Bhagavad Gita. So the foundation of any building is very important, like unless you don't have a strong foundation, then the building doesn't stand, like how the kids play blocks. Have you seen kids playing blocks? They'll stack one block over the other, and they build up a big building. So unless the foundation, the bottom stone, the bottom layer is not strong, then the building does not hold shape, and slowly you will feel that it'll collapse. So similarly now, Krishna is laying the foundation of Bhagavad Gita. So very, very important aspects are presented in this chapter. I think it is one of the longest chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, and the other longest is chapter number 18. And whatever Krishna is discussing here, he's discussing it very explicitly, like again and again, he's presenting the points. And then after this chapter, he doesn't discuss these points again in the next 16 chapters. All right, so we are going to be entering into the very important part. So I suggest you have your notebooks handy and take a lot of notes, and very, very important information. So here, I will read this verse, and then volunteers can raise their hands if they want to read. We will read it 2 more times, and then we will read the purport. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. So we will take 2 volunteers to read the shloka. Anybody? Anybody would like to say the shloka loud? Ashmita, want to try?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन्न्यायं भूत्वा भवित्वा न भूयः अजो नित्यं शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
Yes, thank you. Anybody else would like to try? Reading and learning shlokas is a very, very important part, and this is a memory verse. So we all should be memorizing this verse. Very, very important verse. Anyone else would like to join? Would like to try?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, please.
न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूय अजो नित्यशाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
Thank you very much. So here, Krishna is discussing the qualities of of the soul. Okay, so just I'll take a sneak peek into the previous shlokas. So last verse, you all studied Martha's precious to Kontia, like how we should tolerate happiness and distress. Yeah, just like how we tolerate summers and winters. So after that, in verse number 16, Krishna starts to explain that there are 2 types of existences, okay? And the seers of truth. So Krishna uses this word, the seers of truth, Tattvadarshi, okay? So those who know the truth, they have concluded that there are 2 things. One is the material body, and one is the eternal soul. So of the material body, there is no endurance, that there is no guarantee, and of the soul, there is no end. So the soul is eternal and the material body is temporary. So verse number 2.16, Krishna places the first foundational stone over there, where he explains that these are 2 things. There are 2 things. The body is different and the soul is different. And this has been concluded by the seers of truth by elaborate study, research, okay? And it has been established. So that is what Krishna is saying. And then Krishna goes on to explain various qualities of the soul, right? So we will start seeing what are the qualities of the soul. Translation: For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. So we will quickly read the purport, which is given by Srila Prabhupada. I will share the Veda base. Please, I will read out names, and then you all can quickly start reading. So, Vani, can you start reading? Just a minute. Okay, so this is, sorry, I just changed the verse. Yes, Vani, can you start reading the purport?
From where, Mataji?
Just a minute. Qualitatively, the small atomic fragmental part.
Yes, Mataji. Qualitatively, the small atomic fragmental part of the Supreme Spirit is one with the Spirit. He undergoes no changes like the body. Sometimes the soul is called the steady or Uttasta. The body is subject to six kinds of transformation. It takes its birth from the womb of the mother's body, remains for some time, grows, produces some effects, gradually dwindles, and at last vanishes into oblivion. The soul, however, does not go through such changes. The soul is not born, but because it takes on the material body, the body takes its birth. The soul does not take birth there, and the soul does not die. Anything which has birth also has death, and because the soul has no birth, he therefore has no past, present, or future. He is eternal, ever existing, and primeval. That is, there is no trace in history of his coming into being. Under the impression of the body, we seek the history of birth, etc., of the soul. The soul does not at any time become old as the body does. The so called old man therefore feels himself to be in the same spirit as in his childhood or youth. The changes of the body do not affect the soul. The soul does not deteriorate like a tree nor anything material. The soul has no byproduct either. The byproducts of the body, namely children, are also different individual souls, and owing to the body, they appear as children of a particular man. The body develops because of the soul's presence, but the soul has neither offshoots nor change. Therefore, the soul is free from six changes of the body. In
Thank
the
you, Vani.
Katha,
Thank you, Vani. Thank you.
thank you, Mother.
Someone else? Padmapriya, you would like to read?
Yes, Mataji. Maji, can you read the shloka then?
Yes. In the Katha Upanishad, we also find a similar passage which reads, Na jayate mriyate va vipaschin kutaschin bhabhuva kaschit ajo nityah shashvato yam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire.
The meaning and purport of this verse is the same as in the Bhagavad Gita. But here in this verse, there is one special word, vipaschit, which means learned or with knowledge. The soul is full of knowledge or full always with consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is the symptom of the soul. Even if one does not find the soul within the heart where he is situated, one can still understand the presence of the soul simply by the presence of consciousness. Sometimes we do not find the sun in the sky owing to clouds or for some other reason, but the light of the sun is always there, and we are convinced that it is there for daytime. As soon as there is light a little light in the sky early in the morning, we can understand that the sun is in the sky. Similarly, since there is some consciousness in all bodies, whether man or animal, we can understand the presence of the soul. The consciousness of the soul is, however, different from the consciousness of the supreme, because the supreme consciousness is all knowledge, past, present, and future. The consciousness of the individual soul is prone to be forgetful. When he is forgetful of his real nature, he obtains education and enlightenment from the superior lessons of Krishna. But Krishna is not like the forgetful soul. If so, Krishna's teaching of Bhagavad Gita would be useless. There are two kinds of souls, namely the minute particle soul Anu Atma and the super soul Vibhu Atma. This is also confirmed in Katha Upanishad in this way.
Okay, I will read this verse and then Priyanka, you can continue. Priyanka Dora. Anor aniyan mahato mahiyan atmasya janto nihito guhayam tam akrutaha pashyati vitashoko dhatu prasadan mahimanam atmanah. Yes, Priyanka, continue. Okay, Priyanka is not able to. Padma Priya, you continue.
Both the super soul Paramatma and the atomic soul Jivatma are situated on the same tree of the body within the same heart of living being, and only one who has become free from all material desire as well as lamentations can, by the grace of the Supreme, understand the glories of the soul. Krishna is the fountainhead of the super soul also, as it will be disclosed in the following chapters, and Arjuna is the atomic soul, forgetful of his real nature. Therefore, he requires to be enlightened by Krishna or by his bona fide representative, the spiritual master. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So, a lot of elaboration given by Prabhupada. So, this verse is actually has so much of knowledge. Like it's like a capsule, you know. You have a multivitamin capsule. So, this verse is like that, you know. It has so many qualities given of the soul. So, we will see one by one what the shloka is talking about. So, the shloka says, Na jayate. Okay, Na jayate means no birth. Na mriyate, no death. Nayam bhutva, he has not come into being. Nayam bhutva bhavita, does not come into being. Vana bhuyah, will not come into being. Ajo, nityah, shashvata, ayam purana. So ajo is unborn, aja means unborn. Nitya, eternal. Shashvat, ever existing. And purana, primeval. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. It is not slain when the body is slain. So these are some of the qualities of the soul. And here, basically, the most important aspect which Krishna is stressing is the eternality of the soul. Okay, that how the soul is eternal. The soul is not born, nor does the soul have any death. Now, this is something very strange that happens in our day-to-day lives, right? So, whatever we see, whatever everything that we see has a birthday and a death day, right? So we have manufacturing for everything. So whatever we buy to eat, we have manufacturing date and then we have expiry date, right? And similarly, we have our birthdays and then there is a day when we will die, right? So everything around us is has a beginning and has an end. Yeah, but now Krishna is pointing out, Krishna is throwing like a master stroke, you know, sixer, something very different from what we see in our ordinary lives, right? No birth and no death. Okay, so the soul is the only most magnificent thing that has this unique feature. No birth and no death, right? So he has not come into being. So we cannot go to a particular point in history where we can say that is din soul paida hua tha, or is din the soul came into being, or this day the soul was, manifest, or the first day, day one, we say day one. There was no day one, not come into being. Okay, no past, no present, and no future. Does not come into being. So ऐसा नहीं है that, some new souls will be produced. Okay, happy birthday, new souls. We'll celebrate the birthdays of new souls. No, will not come into being. There will never be a time when new souls will be born. The souls have been ever existing, unborn. They are unborn. The souls do not take birth. They are eternal right from the beginning, right? ever existing and primeval. The most old, the oldest of oldest, that is called Purana, primeval, right? Not slain when the body is slain. So the soul is not killed when the body is killed. So very, very profound and very important truth established by Krishna over here. The soul is not slain when the body is slain. The soul remains the same. So the soul never was born, nor the soul has a death, right? So what dies is, so then, we say that this person died, or the tree died, or so and so died. So what dies? So what dies is the body dies, right? So there are two things, the soul and the body, and the soul takes up the body, right? And the basis for the body to survive is the soul. So without the soul, the body is of no use. So basically, it's because that the soul is inside the body and the soul pervades the body, and because of its nature, whatever is happening is because of that, right? So whatever the body does, uh, it we will see the functions of the body, we will see the qualities of the body. So whatever is happening to the body is because of the presence of the soul, right? So in the previous verses also, Krishna is describing few more qualities of the soul, right? And in the purport, again, we see Prabhupada is explaining more qualities of the soul. So we saw these things like it has no birth, no death, etc. And another important quality is that Krishna is explaining in the previous verses is that the soul is indestructible, right? So the soul cannot be destroyed by any weapon. The soul cannot be touched. The soul cannot be destroyed. The soul is immeasurable. Okay, so it's not seen with ordinary eyes. We cannot see with these material senses. We cannot see the soul, but we can obviously, like, we can feel it because of its qualities, right? So it is mentioned in the purport by Prabhupada that the size of the soul is 1/10,000 of the tip of the hair. It is that small, so that is why it is atomic. It's called atomic, and that is why it is not, we cannot see it, right? And it does not go through the six changes. Okay, so the body goes through six changes, the soul does not go through the six changes. The soul has no past, no present, and no future. It does not deteriorate. It has no byproducts. So all the byproducts that are produced of, so like we produce children, offsprings. So all these are products of the body. They are not products of the soul, right? And the soul pervades the entire body through the consciousness. So now if I give you an activity, so pinch yourself. So somebody can pinch on the cheek. So if you pinch yourself on the cheek, or if you pinch yourself in the hand, or if you pinch yourself in the leg, right, you will feel a sensation everywhere, right? So the soul pervades the entire body because of its consciousness. So consciousness is the symptom of the soul. So a body is conscious, that means that there is a soul inside. So by this way we can also understand that it's not that only human beings have souls, right? There was a trend that was very famous amongst a group of people who believe that only the human beings have soul. The animals don't have soul, and that is why the animals can be killed and they can be eaten, right? So animals also have soul, and the tree has a soul. So anywhere where you see this aspect of consciousness, where you see that there is a change, there is growth, there is offsprings produced, there is reproduction. So in all these places, wherever there is consciousness, whenever there is life, that means the soul is existing, right? So these are qualities of the soul. I'm sure you all have taken down notes, right? So next time anybody tells you where you are challenged, most of the times when you're challenged, then you should tell them this verse. Then you should tell them that these are the qualities of the soul, right? And now we will see what are the qualities of the body. So the body and the soul are completely two ends of the spectrum, okay? Opposites, right? Now, body is subject to 6 kinds of transformations. So we can see the body takes birth, small baby, and then it grows, it stays in that body for some time, and then it grows, right? And then बड़े होते हैं, and then शादी हो जाती है, and then they will produce children, and then again slowly old age, right? And then vanishes into oblivion. So what happens? So we can see in our day-to-day life examples, right? We can see, forget, we don't need to see anyone else. We can see ourselves, we see when we see our old pictures, and or if somebody else sees our old pictures, and what they say, oh my God, who is this? Is this you? Right? How many of us have got this reaction? Or sometimes we, look at our old pictures, or somebody looks at our old pictures, we cannot recognize. Or if you see, if you see some Bollywood celebrities, how they would look 20, 35 years back, they look completely different. But how? Because the body is changing, right? The body is changing, but I remain the same person. So 35 years back, I used to like aloo paratha. I still like aloo paratha, right? It's not that the person inside me has changed. I am that same person. I still like aloo paratha, but then my appearance has changed. I look different now. When I was small, I was, in the different kind of a body. Sometimes we grow in height, we grow in weight, complexion changes. In fact, in this world, in today's world, even there is an option of gender change. People change the gender. So I mean, if you go abroad and if you have to fill an application, they will ask you, have you opted for a gender change, right? So everything can be changed related to the body, right? So the body changes. The science says that every microsecond, 10,000 cells of our body are changing every microsecond. Old cells are dying, new cells are born, rejuvenated, you know, old skin goes, new skin is born, so everything is changing, right? Everything related to the body is changing. Um, Sometimes we are fat, sometimes we are thin, sometimes different things, but one thing that doesn't change is that person inside me, that thing inside me, that consciousness that I'm that same person. I still feel like that. So we hold on to grudges. 20 years back तूने मुझे ऐसे बोला था, I still remember. So we are that same person from inside, but what is changing outside is the body. So now most important thing over here is vanishes into oblivion. So suddenly the body disappears. So the body is made of, gross elements, and at death, the body mixes with those elements and it vanishes. It is out of sight, right? It's out of sight, but the soul remains, right? The soul does not go through these changes. The soul is eternal. So now, why are we learning this? Why are we learning about the soul and the body? Right? Why over here Krishna is explaining these things? And now this is not the only verse. Now in the next few verses, these things will be repeated again and again. You will be learning more qualities of the soul. Right? You have learned over here at least 10 to 15 qualities of the soul. In the next few verses, you will be learning more qualities of the soul. Right? So why so much of importance is given to the qualities of the soul? Would anyone like to answer that? Would anyone like to answer that question?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
Mataji, I think that to like we should have that knowledge that who am I actually, like what is my real identity. So that is why Krishna here he is explaining that from where like I'm eternal, I'm not born. These are my qualities as a soul. This is what I think.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that attempt. Shivadarani is saying self-realization. Okay, Narmada is saying this is the basic understanding for everything, both spiritual attachment and material detachment. Right, and Haribala is saying to make us understand that we are the soul. Right. So good attempt. Thank you. Thank you, girls. So yes, it is important to know because we have the entire education system does not teach this, you know. So we have been passing out of so many generations, like I passed out so many years back, 20 years back, and over the years, so much of civilization is happening, so much of modernization is happening, and in the name of, modern advancement is happening, but nowhere this knowledge is taught. Nowhere. This is the most important kind of knowledge. In fact, I mean, especially if you see in a place like India, okay, and in different classes of society, in different areas, I mean, everywhere you see that everybody believes, a lot of, most of the people, we believe in reincarnation. We believe that, there is another birth, there is all these things, but somehow these things are not taught in educational systems. Nowhere, no education system teaches this difference between the soul and the body. In fact, this is very basic knowledge. This is basic knowledge about our own existence, but we are unfortunately not taught this. So here Krishna is laying this foundation on which we can, first we realize that we are not the body and we are the soul, right? So sometimes people do not even know this basic difference, you know so unless if we don't so one thing is knowing and another thing is realizing. So realizing that we are separate from the body, we are still very, very far away from that, but at least this basic knowledge that we are not the body and we are the soul, right? So that lays the foundation of our spiritual life, right? That is the first principle. So Prabhupada says the first step in self-realization is knowing that I am someone, more than the body, and that I am not this body. So, I have this headache, and I have this migraine, and I have this depression, and I have this obesity, and I have this gastritis. That is not me. I am someone separate from this. So this is there, right? Because I have been given this body. So yes, I have to go through, we are given different bodies because of our own desires and our, previous karmas, and we have to undergo different, our reactions to different karmas through that body, right? So Krishna is repeating this same thing again and again and again because to stress his importance. So sometimes when we want to give an important instruction to somebody, we'll say, remember, remember to do this, remember to do this. Like if suppose, I'm telling Padma that a cake needs to be baked, so I will tell her repeatedly, like, don't forget, I need this cake on this day. Don't forget, I need this cake. So the same thing is repeated again and again because it is importance. Okay. And a good teacher uses different techniques to explain that importance. So if you're not understanding in a particular way, then the teacher will use a different words, teacher will use different techniques to make sure that you understand that, right? So here Krishna, in the rest of the chapter, you will see Krishna is explaining in different qualities, different ways. Prabhupada is explaining in his perfect purpose to stress the importance that we are not the body, we are the soul. Also, Krishna does not bring up this topic in the next 16 chapters, right? So Krishna is explaining here, laying down the foundation so that in the next chapters, it's like, how we will learn ABCD, So if you don't learn ABCD properly, then you cannot make words. Now you cannot make words CAT, cat, CAN, can, BUC, bus, 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 right? All that we can make these words only if we know our alphabets properly, right? So foundational knowledge is very important for understanding the other aspects. So the rest of the Bhagavad Gita you can understand if you understand this chapter. So if you skip this chapter, right? And then go ahead, then you will have problem in the other chapters, right? So now Prabhupada here is explaining consciousness is the symptom of the soul. So does anybody remember what example Prabhupada gave in the purport? Prabhupada gave an analogy of the sun. Does anybody remember what was that analogy? Would anyone like to attempt? Yes, anybody remembers?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I would like to try.
Yes.
Prabhupada said that if we see little light in the morning, uh, then
We know the sun is there.
we know the sun is there.
Yeah. So sometimes you have a cloudy day, you cannot see the sun, right? But the sun is there, right? We do not find the sun in the sky owing to the clouds, but the light of the sun is always there. And so we know that it is daytime. So similarly, consciousness is there. In consciousness pervades the body. Consciousness pervades the entire body, and it is also pervades in all other bodies, in all the bodies of animals and the bodies of trees and this all this, right? So now the question is that there are two types of souls in the body, right? There are two types of souls in the body. Anybody knows? Sorry, my presentation ended. Does anybody know the two types of souls in the body?
Soul and super soul.
Soul and super soul, right. So what is the difference between the soul and the super soul?
We are the souls and Krishna is the super soul.
Okay. Anybody has any reference that there is a super soul inside us? What is the proof? So Krishna says in many places that I am seated in the heart of every living entity as the Paramatma. So when we go ahead in the chapters, okay, Krishna is Bhagwan, Paramatma, okay. Shivadarani is saying Krishna is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. 18.61, Krishna is the supreme navigator. Yes, so Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita in various places. In the 15th chapter, in the 18th chapter, Krishna says that I am seated in the heart and I am the super soul. I reside in the heart of the living entity, right? Sarvasya chaham riddhi sannivashto mattah smritirgyanam apohanam cha. So I reside there in the heart of the heart of every living entity, right? So it is not that Krishna is present only in our bodies as a super soul. In every living entity, in every living entity. So even if you see the tiniest worm or tiniest ant, the super soul is present in that. The super soul is present in all living and non-living entities. So even in the atom, we see like millions of atoms around us in our space. Krishna enters into each and every atom as the super soul. So, there is so I mean, yeah, I may be deviating from the topic, but then there is no such thing as I am alone. You cannot be alone. It's not possible because first of all, you have a personalized super soul with you. So Krishna is so kind that Krishna says that my living entities, my dear Jivatmas, they, because of their whatever material desires, they are sent into the material world, you know, to finish their reactions of karma or whatever it is, but poor things, how they will go alone and survive over there. So I will go with them. So Krishna expands as Paramatma, and he goes with everyone. So each one of us has a personalized friend that belongs only to us, And the job of that Paramatma is only to take care of us. That Paramatma has no other business. That Paramatma, so my Paramatma has no business with what Ashmita is doing, and my Paramatma has no business with what Padmapriya is doing. My Paramatma is concerned only about me. Where is Vrajbhumi going? What is she doing? What is she talking? What is she eating? He is the witness to my activities, right? So I can in no point of time say that I am alone. I am not alone. Even if I want to disregard the presence of Paramatma inside me, I cannot, because Paramatma is there, right? Krishna says, I am there, whether you believe it or you don't believe it. I am there, right? So we should feel privileged. We should feel privileged that I have. So at no point of time I can say that I am alone. So not only the living entities, even the non-living entities. So all the minute 100 lakh millions of atoms that we are surrounded by in our space, the Paramatma is there in each one of them, right? So so two things pervade in the body. One is the soul and one is the super soul, right? So we will see some differences about this between the soul and the super soul. What is the difference between the soul and the super soul, right? So we saw that the soul forgets the past. Okay, भूल जाते हैं हम लोग. We don't remember what we ate yesterday, you know, right? And future, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what will happen after the next half an hour, whether the electricity will go or whether we don't know, right? And in the present, we are always anxious. So we are always anxious in the present. Okay, that in the present, we are either thinking about the past or about the future. We don't live in the present, right? So that is one quality of the soul, right? Also, but the super soul, the supreme soul knows everything. The supreme soul knows the past, knows the present, and knows the future, right? So in the fourth chapter, you will see Krishna tells that I remember. The difference between you and me is that you remember only your present birth, but I remember all your births, right? So again, in the 13th chapter, Krishna will explain that one is, like I can know only what is happening in my body, right? I am the knower of my body, but I don't know what is happening in your body. I don't know what is happening in Deepa's body. I don't know what is happening in Narmada's body. She's having some gas trouble. We say sometimes, no, sometimes when we are suffering, we say only, the person who is suffering only will know what he's suffering. So that is the truth. Like, only we know what is happening. My stomach pain, when I get stomach pain, you can't understand what is happening with my stomach and why I'm getting stomach pain. So similarly, but Krishna knows what is happening in everybody's bodies. Krishna knows. Krishna knows what exactly is happening in each and every single body, right? So he is the supreme knower. Okay. uh, the soul is prone to forgetfulness. The soul forgets the past, forgets everything. And the Supreme Soul does not forget. In fact, the Supreme Soul provides knowledge and enlightenment to the soul. So Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita that aham jnanam apohanam cha. Sarvasya chaham riddhi sannivashto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. So I give remembrance, I give forgetfulness, I give the knowledge. Okay, the soul is tiny, atomic. Okay, we heard the size of the soul is 1/10,000th of the tip of the hair. So sometimes you can take a tip of your hair, you can see one hair, and then that one hair's tip, if you divide it into 10,000th time, that is the size of the soul. That is also just an estimated size, right? But the super soul is infinite. Okay, it is Vibhu. It is infinite, right? So we will come to this later. So now I will give you an activity, okay? A quick activity just in your notebooks. One small activity that we know that we are the body and we have a soul, right? So Write down the activities that you do for the body and write down the activities that you do for the soul. I'll give you 1 minute time. What are the activities I do for my body and what are the activities I do for my soul? Okay, Haribala has shared that for the soul, she prays, and for the body, bathing, cleaning, studying, job, shopping. Right. Anyone else would like to share? Anyone else would like to share what they have written? Priyanka, soul chanting, body cleansing and resting. Okay, body exercise, sleeping, eating, working, soul chanting, reading, hearing, bhoga offering. Right. All right, so if we see our activities, Priyadarshini, body, speak, exercise, soul, prayer, meditation. All right, thank you everyone for your inputs. So we'll see that most of the time our focus is on the body, right? And thankfully, after coming into Krishna consciousness, okay, after coming, meeting the devotees, we have some activities dedicated for the soul, right? But if you ask your friends the same activity, maybe when you go, next time when you meet your friends, you do this activity with your friends, and you will see that hardly anybody has any time to spend with the soul. They don't even know that what is the soul. Forget about spending any time with the soul. So this knowledge itself is not there, right? So at least because of Prabhupada and because of devotees, we know this knowledge is there, and that is why we have some activities dedicated to the soul. Otherwise, if we see that 90% of our day is all goes in the nourishment of the body, right? We get up, we go to the bathroom, we brush our teeth, we go take a bath, we are exercising, we eat breakfast, and then we eat lunch, and then we eat dinner, and then we have to go shopping, and then we have to do some skincare, and then we have to do some face yoga, some beauty routine or whatever, like hundreds and thousands of activities dedicated to the body, but hardly any activities dedicated to the soul, right? So there are two aspects to this. So we know that the body and the soul both are important, right? So the nourishment of the body is also important, and the nourishment of the soul is also important. Why is the nourishment of the body important? Because the body is the medium for the soul to perform any kind of devotional service, right? So if the body is not there, if the body is sick, or if the body is diseased, or if the body is, so for example, if you break your hand or you break your leg, you cannot go to the temple. If you break your hand, you cannot cook bhoga for the Lord, right? If you are sick, so we all know the days we are sick, is it possible to do chanting? No. When you have a headache, you can't complete your rounds, right? So the body is the medium through which we perform devotional service. So the body is sacred. So Prabhupada says that as much as we can, we have to preserve the body, right? But the focus should be why we are preserving the body is Why we're preserving the body? Because so that we can use the body as the medium to get out of the body. Funny, huh? Okay, so we have to use the medium of the body to get out of the body, right? We have no option. Prabhupada says making best use of the bad bargain, right? So that is why taking care of the body is very important, right? So eating on time, sleeping on time, you will see Krishna explaining all these things later on, eating on time, eating the right quantity, sleeping on time, sleeping the right quantity, all these things are essential to keep the soul in a proper state of consciousness. So if these activities are not regulated, later on in the 16th chapter, you will see the different modes and how the soul is covered by the different modes and how everything that is connected to the body, like the things that we eat, the things that we do, the books that we read, the food that we eat, the music that we listen, everything else depends on the mode that covers the consciousness. So if we want to progress in spirituality, in devotional life, we have to come to the platform of at least Sattvaguna, right? So coming to the platform of Sattvaguna, then you have to take care of the body. So where you I mean, but again, we have to strike a balance. That doesn't mean all our energy and all our resources go in taking care of the body. No, accurately, the soul has to be taken care of, right? So there has to be a balance. So taking care of the soul is nourishment of the soul is praying, doing our rounds, doing services in the temple. So any kind of services that you do will nourish the soul. That is the food for the soul. So that is why, when you do any kinds of service and then you feel bliss. What is that bliss? That bliss is food for the soul. There's a very famous example quoted in the Shastras that it's like a cage, it's like a bird in a cage, you know. So if you have a beautiful golden cage, with rubies and diamonds and flower petals, and you do a lot of decoration, like beautifully painted, most expensive, worth 1 lakh of cage, and you're painting the cage, you're decorating it, but you don't feed the bird inside. What will happen? The bird will die, right? So yes, you have to take care of the cage, but you have to take care of that bird, right? So that nourishment, that bliss that you feel is the nourishment of the soul, right? So when the soul has some purpose, it will be nourished, and then you will be happy. And what else this principle applies is solace in the times of difficulty. So whenever we are faced with any difficult situations, right, it could be if we are having some kind of a disease, or if our loved ones are facing some kind of a problem, or if our loved ones are being diagnosed with some disease, or if we lose a loved one, you know because death is certain, right? So that time this knowledge will help us in maintaining a point of sanity. So this knowledge will help us in actually providing solace to us and also our loved ones, because this is the reality, right? This is the truth. So we will not be bewildered and we will not be shaken up, because we know that the body is perishable, but the soul is not, right? But what happens is, in this world, whatever benefit and bonus you give, there is always somebody who will misuse it. So this principle that the soul cannot be killed, this principle that the soul is imperishable, it is indestructible, it cannot be killed when the body is clean, it can be misused. How it can be misused? You can say that the animals don't have soul. Anyways, the soul is not killed, the body is killed, so we can kill animals. right? So that is not the proper application of the principle. This does not give license to anybody to commit any kind of violence, right? So every principle has utility, right? In the right perspective, that principle should be applied. So violence also has utility. Like, for example, if a doctor is taking a knife and cutting out the stomach open for some surgery, so that violence is okay, right? And for example, if a soldier is given an orders, by his superior that go and kill the enemy, so that order is justified, right? So if any violence is committed in proper knowledge, then it is all right. So similarly here, Krishna is addressing Arjuna to do his duty as a Kshatriya, and as a Kshatriya, his duty was to fight, right? So this was being done in knowledge and not for personal satisfaction or personal sense gratification, right? So this principle that the soul cannot be killed and the body can be killed and the soul is eternal does not give anybody a license to commit any kind of violence to anybody, whether it is physical or whether it is mental, right? And also it does not give you the license to neglect your duty. So you don't say that, okay, anyways, I'm not the body, I'm the soul, forget it, like I won't make food, or I will not study, anyways, I'm not a body, I'm the soul. So this application should not make you neglect your duties in whatever ashram you are, like whether you are a student or whether you are a housewife or whether you are a daughter or a son, like whatever, wherever uh, point of life you are in, this principle does not give you license to commit violence, right? So over here, Krishna is explaining. So Krishna is not making us become hard-hearted by explaining these principles, right? That is not the objective of Krishna, but we need to understand that what is evitable and what is inevitable. So death is inevitable, right? And what is evitable? Our eternal nature is evitable. So Krishna is trying to make us understand that we make proper choices in our life, right? Based on this principle. So based on these principles, we can see that what is important and what is not important, what is worth our energy and what is not worth our energy, right? Where we need to invest our time, where we need to invest our energy, that we can immediately start applying in our life, So where you think that, okay, somebody told me something harsh, and for months I am brooding over it and wasting my time. So this is not necessary, This is, on the external level, and this doesn't need my time and attention. I can rather concentrate on more important aspects, right? So that is why Krishna is pointing out this principle so that Krishna is pointing out this principle so that we know where to make our choices, right? So this is a very important aspect which I would like to touch. Prabhupada begins his purport. We are already at 9 o'clock. I'll take 5 more minutes because Prabhupada starts the purport with this line. So I want to just give it a little time and attention. So Prabhupada says the small atomic fragmental part of the Supreme Spirit is one with the Supreme. So this is a very, very, very important part of philosophy that Prabhupada is discussing, right? So we need to understand that the soul and the super soul, we saw the differences, right? The soul is Anu and the super soul is Vibhu, right? So although they are qualitatively one, they are similar in quality, but they are different in quantity, right? So this is the basis on which our philosophy is based upon, right? One very easy example I will give you to understand this concept is just like water. Okay, so the composition of water is H2O, right? One part oxygen and 2 part hydrogen. Okay, that makes water. Okay, now there is ocean. You have an ocean, which is full of H2O particles, right? And you have a glass of water. Okay, so you have the same water in the glass and you have the same water in the ocean, right? So qualitatively, the ocean and the glass of water is the same, right? The same quality of water is there in the ocean, and the same quality of water is there in the glass that you fill up from the ocean, right? So there is no change in the quality, right? But what is the difference between the glass of water and the ocean? The difference is that ocean can drown a ship, but your glass of water cannot drown a ship, right? So that is the difference. So the difference is in the quantity, right? So the soul is anu, it is atomic. Okay, remember, one 10,000 of the tip of the hair. And the supreme soul is vibhu, it is infinite. So although we are qualitatively one, but we are quantitatively different, right? So just like how we have electricity in the house, right? But there is one main powerhouse which is providing electricity to all the millions of houses in Chennai. Okay. So similarly, there is one powerhouse, and that is the Supreme Soul. So I wanted to touch upon this topic because Prabhupada had mentioned it. So, knowledge of the soul's eternality provides a long term framework for finding meaning and purpose within one's duty, which in Arjuna's case happens to be fighting. So Arjuna found purpose in fighting for Krishna's sake, right? So similarly, knowledge of the soul should help us in providing our framework for finding meaning and what is our duty, right? So this Gita teaches us how to re-evaluate what makes life worth living and makes a basis for making difficult but essential choices, right? So I will end my session here, and we can take one or two questions, if any. Thank you very much. So anybody has any questions? Anybody has any questions, or anybody would like to share any reflections, or anything which they would like to take away from today's session? Anything which they found was helpful?
Mataji, I liked one point very, it was very nice when you mentioned that I have my own Paramatma and his only job is to take care of me. And so sometimes I feel ki that, like, I'm alone, but this statement made me realize that no, that even in my darkest phase of my life, or whenever I'm happy, but there is one person, nobody's there, if anybody's there or not, but Paramatma is always there. So that point was very much very nice, Mataji. It was very nice.
Thank you. Shivadarini is saying, my new realization, Krishna monitors each and everyone as Paramatma, even what I'm eating, how I am, and so. Yes, exactly. Anybody else would like to speak?
Mataji, I like this statement. The Gita teaches us how to reevaluate what makes life worth living as a
Yes,
basis for making difficult but essential choices.
yes, definitely. So we can re-evaluate the choices that we make in life. So we can pause and look and see that are these choices worth making? What is the more important choice I need to make? So, I mean, every single day we are making choices. In a day we are making 20 choices. So every time we make a choice, we can pause and see, and we can see whether our choice is aligning with what Krishna is teaching. So Narmada is saying in the beginning, as you say, everybody who's feeling A spiritual quotient knows that we are not this body and we are an eternal soul, but nobody knows what is the food or anything related to the soul. Yes, Priyanka Dora says, thank you for the wonderful session. I feel better than earlier now, as Padma mentioned, the same point which I was going to. I have one question: how to maintain time? How to maintain time? Can you elaborate that question, Priyanka? You can speak up. Okay. Fixing the routine every day. So see, whatever gets scheduled gets done. That is my principle. So whatever is important for you, you schedule it. And when you schedule it, it will get done. You can try it. Most practical way is to make a journal, have a journal where you plan out the day, a day before. So whatever you want to do tomorrow, you can make a plan, you can make a list of things that you want to do. Or otherwise, when you start your day, when you get up in the morning, you write down the things that you want to do. So when you write down the things that you want to do, half of 50% of it is done. So whatever is scheduled, what is that gets done. So if you want to schedule reading, if you want to schedule chanting, if you want to schedule a service, you put it in your schedule, right? If you want to do these things, you put it in your schedule and you will take out time for that. So whatever gets scheduled gets done. I'm reminded to take choices related to spirituality and in a way that pleases Krishna. Thank you. So thank you very much, ISKCON Youth Services Online Sangha. Thank you for the opportunity. It was a wonderful session with all of you. And yes, over to you. Deepapriya, over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji, for a wonderful session. Very practically, described by you some of the practical applications, and also you had taken through the purpose of Srila Prabhupada very nicely in a very systematic way. So thank you so much. So again, we will meet next Wednesday. So thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.